Oh,
We're live.
Hello, folks.
We finished, and we start like we finished, right?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Miss Carol Ann. She's keeping us straight there. Our technician, camera person, and director. So we're gonna get into something tonight. I think is gonna be helpful to everybody. Mm-hmm. We hope.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, you forgot to say also awesome doctrine.
Got to say what?
You said also.
Oh, and Miss Carol Ann's also an awesome dog trainer.
Thank you.
Heavy on the awesome, right, Carol Ann?
And heavy on the trainer.
And heavy on the trainer, yeah. So,
Oh,
well,
you know, I was talking to Butch the other day, and I was sitting there in my thoughts, and
which didn't take a lot of room, by the way.
it's like 3 seconds, if that. So I think when we started this with the Pavlov dogs and genetics and everything else, we started talking about breeding and the genetics of the dogs. And I said something, and I'm going to retract it.
Oh, okay.
So I said, you can have 10 dogs of the same kind. You're going to have one dog's a world champion. You're going to have one dog's a junkyard dog, and everything in between. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what, though? That ain't true.
Really?
No.
Why is that?
Because I think the dogs, and Butch said this a few weeks ago, and it caught my attention. He goes, genetics are there. They're the clay. And we mold that clay, make a nice vase or a pile of nothing, right? So that number one dog to me is that owner or handler that makes that dog go where it's at. And the dogs that don't do nothing, it's nothing to do with the dogs.
I think that's genius.
And along with that, how to pick your puppy.
Yes.
Now, I had a comment today on our Western Shepherd page, and we posted this. We're doing tonight. Somebody said, "Well, I'll just talk to the trainer or the breeder." Okay, first of all, we're not in Europe. Europe and America have different standards on breeders. Would you like to enlighten us on that, Butch?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, those people out there think that breeders are the way to go and trust your breeder. You know.
In Europe, in most of the countries in Europe, the breeder, everything's held to a standard. So a relatively common system in the Scandinavian countries, excuse me, is, so here, I get a German Shepherd and you get a German Shepherd. And mine's a boy and yours a girl. And she comes in heat and you say, "Hey, Butch, let's make some money. Put your German Shepherd with my German Shepherd," and we do. And then they have 10 puppies, and we go call the kennel club, whoever we're registering with, and they send us some papers, and those dogs are registered German Shepherds. And then everybody who buys those puppies can go out and they can make more puppies, and they can sell their puppies until we got them flooded, and we're sticking them all in the dog pound or euthanizing them. What a wonderful system.
So you're saying Europe has an actual structure?
Yep.
And
Yep.
Well, actually they do, because I recently picked up a Serbian dog, and we went back online, and you told me that site, and I found those numbers, and I found that dog, exact birth date, its sires, and the sire of the sires, and it's a legit dog.
Pedigree database.
Yes, sir.
Where he's talking about, folks.
We don't have that in America.
No, and the way they work it, like I said, every country varies a little bit. There's an organization, the initials are FCI. Every country in the world is a member of the FCI except America. And every country has their own registry, but they all send their information to the FCI. So they have a central clearinghouse, a record-keeping place. But let's say Scott and I get the same 2 German Shepherds, and we're in Denmark or Sweden, somewhere like that. I'm not saying this is exactly how it's done. Remember, it'll vary from country to country. But generally, what you're going to have to do is you're going to get a registration number for your dog that says he is a German Shepherd. You can't breed him. If you breed him, you will not get any papers or any recognition or registration on the puppies. To breed him, you have to, and I'm trying to remember the order that's all done in. First, you've got to show him in some, if he's a German Shepherd, you've got to show him in some sort of a police or herding discipline, and he's got to pass those working standards. Now, he's not going to be able to do these working standards till he's at least a year old, right? Well, Scott and I in America, we can breed our dogs at maybe 7 months. But there, they had to wait at least a year till they put him in this working discipline.
So you mean the breeders have to prove that they're working the dogs, and actually the dogs are, aside from the genetics and everything else?
That would be the case.
Is that key, though? You have to put the time in the dogs.
And yeah, and it goes deeper than that. After you get the working line, then you have to take them to the showroom and prove their conformation. After you've proved their conformation, you've already proved their working ability, you've now got a dog that's 18 months of age probably, and now you still have to go through all the hip x-rays. Now, if you breed him and her, now you can register those puppies. Any pup bred under any other situation is not registerable.
So basically, the sire and the bee, to breed puppies.
The
dam, yes, you have to do this. And I mean, I can go buy my other puppies. You can. Anybody can.
Right.
But for them to be able to breed, they have to prove themselves.
They have to prove the dogs.
You know, I bought a dog 3 years ago, and he's a good dog. But I went over there and I said, I want like that one there. The mother was there. I said, I want to meet the father of the dog, just to see him. You know, because that means something to me. And I never got to see him.
Never got to see him.
He's like, yeah, you don't want to come in right now. He's outside and threw a little red flag up, but I don't regret getting the dog.
Right.
But with that being said, that's another story. You know, so the breeder for Americans, the breeders. There's good breeders out there. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
There are people that breed good dogs, to do the genetics, to do the blood, to do the hips, to do X-rays. But there's a lot of people out there, like you said, $2 in a truck with a dog in a dam.
There you go. And so, to that end, I'm going to try to give you a formula that, at least that I think, will guarantee you can get the best dog out of every litter you go to buy, whether it's a high dollar, $10,000 registered dog, or Joe and Larry. Oh yeah, we're in Texas. It can't be Joe and Larry.
No.
Joe and Judy down the street. So I didn't know where I go.
Giving the puppies away.
Yeah, giving the puppies away.
From a $10,000 dog to a free puppy.
Right. So how do you get that? First, let me give you a guaranteed truth. Every dog owner gets exactly, no matter how you pick it, you will get exactly the dog you deserve. That I can promise you.
It's true.
But there's three things I look at. This is going to apply if I'm dealing with a registered pure breed. 2 things if I'm dealing with, George and Judy's dog from next door. I'm going to always want to see a pedigree. Why the pedigree? Because especially if it's an FCI pedigree, they'll have anything the dog's ever accomplished will be on that pedigree. This pedigree is going to say, let's take Schutzhund or IPG, whatever they call it this year, and they've got their tracking, their obedience, and their bite work. So I can look at a pedigree and I can see that the dog is, the parents of the dog were at a Schutzhund title, and again, don't hold me to these terms because a lot's changed since I was in Schutzhund. But they used to mark them a V if they were exceptionally hard in the courage test, right? But then they could go to the tracking and score mediocre. So, if I'm looking for a security dog or patrol dog, that pedigree is going to help me. It's going to show me the tendency, the accomplishments of the parents, which means these pups will have tendencies towards that. Okay? Tendencies, that's all I'm saying.
Tendencies.
Okay?
Yep.
Next, after pedigree, I'm going to look at genetics. I want to know how genetically sound these dogs are, because the genetics are going to show me the potential of this dog. What is this dog's maximum capability? It's going to show me the tendency to have that maximum capability. If it's a Rottweiler, I know I'm not going to use him to flush quail. I can teach him to do that, but he ain't going to be real good at it.
No.
Right?
You're like, let it come to me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah, that's what a Rottie will do. So genetics is going to give me the potential. Just like Scott said, it's your mound of clay that you have to mold. The third factor you're going to look at is the most important one. This is the one that makes the dog. That is the training and time you put in with this pup the first 6 to 9 months of its life, depending on the breed.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you, I will make a bet with anybody out there who wants to. I'll bet you any amount of money. I'll give you 3 to 1. If you can show me any time that the dog owner did not get, no matter the pedigree, no matter the genetics, if he didn't get the dog he deserved, I'll give you 3 to 1. Because that last part is what really truly makes a dog.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You know, Butch, I'm not a dog trainer.
Pretty good agitator.
But I'm always in the. Oh yeah, you are. We know you are.
Carol Ann is awesome.
But I've been on the other end of the dog.
Yep.
The front end of the dog.
Watching the
I
TV.
started with the back end of the dog, but I get to the business end of the dog,
Right.
and I can tell a lot more about the dog. Actually, no, I must say that wrong. I can tell more about the owner, what the dog is doing, or how the dog is acting than they think. I already know. Just the dog's tendencies and what he's doing. I understand exactly where that dog is
Right.
and where they're at with it and how seriously they're taking it.
Yep.
Believe it or not, it was a whole new enlightenment. You know, back in now, I can just about how the dog walks up to the bite pens, how the dog acts when he walks in.
Yep.
His confidence.
Yep.
And I'll look at the owner and say, handler, and well, I've been doing this, and this, and I'm like, no, you ain't.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. We can fix all that.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's not a bad thing, but it's so much. You're so tight. They're so tied together. We say
Right.
umbilical cord, the leash together, and these are all little things, nuances we talk about that people really don't talk about.
No.
The
they
handler is very important. You and your dog are a team.
don't. Right.
So, Butch, you know, for example, you know, let's go to sports for a minute.
Okay.
You know, you got the best baseball player in the world. You
Right.
got 5 of them together,
Right.
right?
Right.
But they can't win a damn championship.
Wonder why.
You know, their coach is out there drinking whiskey in the back, and he's on TV and he's doing this. But you got these 5 mediocre guys
Yeah.
on his basketball team. They're good players.
Yeah.
They're average. They're not no superstars,
Right.
but they're winning championships.
Got to have a coach.
Their coach. It's like you said with those dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Those dogs that are winning. It's the coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a good coach, I don't care what your discipline is, you're not going to do well.
Right.
So this is what your job is when you get your pup. That's your job. Now, there's one other factor that we hear a lot about in this country: breeders' tests. Now, I'm not going to say anything against the kennel clubs. You know, they sell their dogs to be show champions. I have handled dogs in the show ring. I did the conformation. You know, it's there for whatever people want to do with it. They think, for some reason, these breeders, that they can take a 6-8 week old puppy and tell you if it's going to be a conformation champion, and that for that puppy you get to pay an extra $1,000 or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, of course, you don't know if there's a litter of 10. They might have done sold 8 as the next confirmation yet, but you don't know because you don't know them other 7 people. So, I'm not going to comment on the confirmation test, but let's look at the breeders who say, you know, it's all genetics. Usually, those breeders will tell you they're the only ones who have those special genetics. Funny how that is. But it's all genetics. I got the genetics, and that's what makes a dog. And I'm going to put them through these puppy tests, and I can tell you the temperament of the dog, his drive, and this and that, and the other demeanor. So there's actually a study done, and I have gone blank, but you can find it in The Dog's Mind by Dr. Bruce Fogel. He talks about a lot of the tests that have been done over the years. and I believe it was in England or North Carolina, I forget where. And they followed 2,000 dogs. They took the results of the breeders' tests when the puppies were born at 8, 16, and 24 weeks of age. And the breeders predicted the temperament of all these dogs and the ability of these dogs.
Is that possible?
Well, they say they can do it, and we got breeders doing it every day down here, you know. Yeah, an 8-week-old puppy. How are you going to know?
There's no way.
Well, you know what? They follow these pups until they were 2 years old as adults.
Right, but puppies have tendencies too, though. You have the rambunctious ones, you got the quiet ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got one that don't do nothing.
Right.
And you go in a year and a half, and
Right.
all of a sudden,
It's flipped.
it's flipped over. You said, "Oh,
So what?
I picked the wrong dog." No, you didn't. You didn't.
So what do you think they discovered when they followed these dogs with these predictions?
That they weren't the same.
They found that when they took the 8, 12, and 24 week or 16 week, whatever it was.
So, oh wait, I got it. I think I got it. So
Okay.
regardless, you switch parents, right?
No,
Okay.
same parents, same parents. Yeah. They just
Okay, good.
they followed all these dogs, and they said, all right, this dog A was supposed to be the alpha.
Oh, okay.
He's supposed to
Long
have
conversation.
high drive, yada yada yada. Then they tested the dogs for these personality traits and temperament traits that had been predicted by these puppy tests. And you know how accurate those puppy tests were?
30%,
Huh?
3%.
Well, I don't know the percentage points, but I can tell you
About
the
percentages.
the conclusion was that if you took a 50-cent piece and flipped it in the air, heads, he's an alpha, tails, he's a zeta, you would be as accurate by tossing that coin as that breeder was by running his test.
Got it.
It, not even close.
I was on something else where we took the puppies to another piece that we talked about this. I was on the wrong subject there. I apologize.
Yeah.
But so do you think now dogs have traits? Certain dogs are born with traits. If you're on dogs a lot and different dogs, different people's dogs, like we're blessed here to have dogs come all the time.
Yeah.
We can see different
All
things.
sorts, yeah.
But when you go pick a puppy out, you don't know. Well, he's a little rambunctious, like you're saying, all this and that, but they have characteristics.
Right.
But, like you said, to me, it's the time you put in. If you commit to a pet or a dog, okay, and I'm just going to say something out. You know, I've seen a lot of dogs come through here, a lot of Western Shepherds. It's our breed.
Right.
And they bring them back for bite work because their obedience is great.
Right.
They get them going, and some people come back and say, "Well, my dog ain't good." Well, you keep doing what you're supposed to do. You committed to this animal, and this pet of yours is part of your family now. You committed to this. Well, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But when the dogs come back to start their bite work, which a lot of them do, you can tell that people that put the time in their dogs, and how the dog is just vibrant. It doesn't matter what dog it is, what litter he's from, or what breed he is. The dog is vibrant. The dog has courage. The dog is confident. The dog is very socialized. And that's what I mean about being socialized. To me, it all comes back, no matter what dog, from a Pyrenees to a Bull Mastiff.
That's it.
It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Any dog.
That's right.
Because dogs are dogs.
Right.
I mean, there's the show lines, and some have tendencies this is like in a bubble type deal. I'm not talking about basically every dog is just this and that. We mold them. Some dogs are hard on genetics. See the parents that you're saying, the pedigree dogs?
Right.
You can see. He's going to bite everybody. This one, they have all that,
Yeah.
but anyway.
Yeah, if you take, all right, so without a doubt, there's physical characteristics that are going to lend themselves to completing a job.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never bet on a beagle in a race against a greyhound.
Right, and we talked about it before. What dog's best for you? What are you
Yeah.
looking for? An apartment? You want a herding dog? Protection dog?
Right, and so there are physical limits to every dog doing certain tasks. But you know what's not limited? There's no limits whatsoever to the brain, the dog's brain. It's no different than a human brain's. And if you develop that with early stimulation, I use athletes a lot as comparisons, but I think it's an accurate analogy. Tiger Woods been all over the news this week, and I don't know,
He actually had a bad accident and came back and he actually played.
It's good.
He made the cut.
Yep.
And played 4 days in the Masters.
Walking. I forget the equivalent of like
34 or how many holes it
so
was?
many
36.
miles up and down
Yep.
hills with a rebuilt leg. But his father had him out on the golf course when he was just a pup,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing that all his life. And look how good he became. And if you look into how many second and third generation actors do we have? Their parents bring them up, school
Yeah.
them, coach them. Now, I don't think I don't know actors. Give me an actor's name. I always say Brad Pitt. He's the only one. I
Well,
can think
the
of.
brothers. I can't remember them now. The Great Lebowski. What's his name? Lebowski. There's
Let's
a-
go with Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt's fine.
Brad Pitt. Let's go Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, I don't know if he's second or third generation, but he's a great actor. But he couldn't whoop Tiger Woods playing golf any way, shape, form, or fashion. But Tiger Woods couldn't go and do a Shakespearean play like Brad Pitt maybe could, except he'd be pretty at it. Shakespeare wasn't that pretty, I don't think.
No comment.
But so we're all pretty much. What do you got?
Okay, so
Okay.
Jeff Bridges, Lloyd Bridges, the Bridges.
Oh, the Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole
yeah,
four-
Yeah, the whole family. Yeah.
They're all assimilated.
Yep.
So not to
Yep.
cut you off with Brad Pitt. but
No, that's great.
I don't like Brad Pitt.
Well, I just like the name. I don't even know what he looks like. We don't.
I don't either.
So we all we're all a mound of clay when we're born, and then how we're shaped depends on the influences that we have as we're growing up. The abilities that we reach or can reach are going to be formed by our physical genetics. Period.
You got one?
Yeah.
There's a comment.
Mhm.
Second one said, this discussion sounds like nature versus nurture. Because we're the nurturers. And it says argument in psychology.
Says
So
what?
This discussion sounds like
Nature versus nurture.
argument in psychology.
Argument in psychology?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
an argument, but
Yeah, it's not an argument.
want me to cut to the chase?
It,
Cut to the chase?
yeah.
What do you call them? Fur babies?
Fur babies, yeah.
You're their parents. Raise them right. That's
And,
it.
and Second Wind's right. This is nature versus nurture, but we're trying to present it in a slightly different light to make it a little more understandable for people. And the main thing, we can talk scientifically all day long about the influence that genetics has versus the influence training has, but how does that relate to our dogs? Well, it's real simple. If I tell you that your dog is going to be the best dog you ever had if you spend these first 6 to 9 months working with him, or if I tell you you've got to train your dog and do nature, it's just a way to clarify to everybody. There's 3 things you can look for. We're just breaking them down so everyone can understand them better and apply them, hopefully, a little more accurately when they go puppy hunting or even big dog hunting.
But yeah, there you go. It's not, there's people out there like the hardcore doggers. I know, I look like you're talking about. But for someone getting their first dog, they don't know.
Right.
That's
right.
what this is all about. Regardless of the psychology and all, that's deep. But on the top surface and skim that cream off the top for your average person, if this helps keep dogs out of the pound because people can't handle their dogs,
Right.
well, that's what it's
what
all
we're
about.
And I'll go you one even better than that, Scott. He said first-time doggers and dog owners, there's a culture of professional dog people in this country that are always putting out what I feel is erroneous, inaccurate information. And there's a huge belief and following for the genetics are everything principle, especially in the people who think they're doing security dogs, the sport dog world. You got to have genetics. You got to have genetics. When these are the kind of people I'd really like to reach with this argument. And if you're one of those people who thinks genetics is the be all end all,
That's fine.
yeah. And if you want to come on here and discuss it with me, and discuss it. Well, not about arguing or fighting.
Yeah, no, it's just, you know.
You may have information I don't have, and I'd like to have. I'd like to have.
It's a spectrum. There's a spectrum here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but inside that spectrum, there's people that just want to have dogs. Just want to have dogs.
And there's people who just want to have money.
Yeah.
Just have money.
I want to have both.
And if I can get,
And all I got is dogs.
yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah,
But you know, you're just trying to pick a dog.
right.
I mean, I mean, like you're saying, scientific, psychological, getting into it. But most people that I know just want a dog. You know, listen, be obedient.
Right.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with all the people that get dogs. There's so many out there that just don't understand how smart the dog is. And how genetics and having a dog and all of this and that, it's already there. The dog is smart. I have so many people comment to tell me that their dog's not smart. Well, then I look at the owners, the handlers, and I see their reflection on you. How much time have you spent with your dog? What have you done with your dog?
That's
And
what.
they said, we didn't do anything. And I'm
Right.
like, well, that's what you have then.
It's clay, remember?
You don't have anything.
Yeah, it's
You
clay.
don't have what you want.
Every owner gets the dog they deserve.
Deserve.
Not the one they want. You don't get the one you want automatically. You get the one you deserve. But what Carol Ann's saying is also correct. In this country, we have these beliefs that have been, I believe, promoted so some people could sell dogs. And the next generation came up and they heard the same thing, genetics are everything. They heard, dogs just got to have repetition. They can't think. They heard you can't punish a dog for pooping on your floor unless you catch him in the act. They hear all these things that they're raised with, and of course they continue promoting and doing dogs in that way when they're erroneous. They're wrong. These beliefs are not correct.
So
We want to educate those people as well as
Yeah.
first-time dog owners.
So what you're saying is, a dog doesn't come out of a box ready to go. It's like putting a roof on. You got to take the old roof off, put the new plywood on, then you put the flashing on, you put the shingles on one at a time until your roof is finished and your roof's complete, right?
I would think that would be a very good analogy. Apropos for today as well. Yeah, yeah. That's it. One step at a time.
One
First
step
you
at a time.
housebreak them, then you teach them to come when you call, then you get them to stay in one place when you ask them. Same thing. You just go a step at a time.
Step at a time.
And
Yeah.
at 6 to 9 months of age, you're going to have a real good idea of what your dog's potential is
and-
going to be.
I'll tell you candidly that I got my dog and I said, well, this dog's ready. And society today is all TikTok, Instagram. People's brains are wired. They want everything right now.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Dogs don't work like that.
No.
It don't work that way. I want my dog to do this. Well, that dog's doing it.
All right.
Your dog's doing that. Well, yeah, that dog's been here for 2 years.
Yeah.
That dog's been here for a year. That dog's been here for 9 months working.
Yeah.
And,
You didn't learn algebra in the 3rd grade.
no, but honestly, that's how it goes. And everybody said they want something right away.
It's all on you for a minute.
So, dogs ain't like that. We got any questions out there? I can answer anything.
No questions yet.
No, but it's I've learned a lot about working with these dogs and the handlers. People work great with their dogs. They come out here and they learn something. They keep doing, keep going, and the people that keep coming out, it's not a everyday thing. They come every week, twice a week, week after week after week, and I enjoy watching these dogs progress. The people that put the time into these dogs, But it's the whole thing. You got to put time into it. So.
It's just like when I go to the store
Mhm.
and I have 2 dogs with me
Yep.
and I can have them listening, down, stay. Everybody's like, ooh, ah. you know, I want that, they call my Western Shepherd a German Shepherd, and I said, he's a Western Shepherd, or I see that Doberman, and they're doing really good, and I just look at them and I go, yes.
I'm running the camera next week. You can have her up here.
Yeah,
Talks better than I do.
she does pretty good, doesn't she?
It is
You're right, though.
because of the time that it only takes a few.
Talk
minutes
louder because they
out of
can't hear you on the
day.
microphone.
Oh, well, I hope they can, because I'm right by the microphone.
No, you're by the receiver.
Oh, I'm by the receiver.
Yeah, yeah.
So just so you understand, a few minutes every day, short increments, will get your dog where you need it to be. That's all it's gonna take.
Right. So coming back to choosing the right puppy.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your analogy on that? So if someone's watching that never watched before, just want to get in a dog, so we want to get a puppy, but so
You mean how to pick that puppy?
yeah, how do you pick a puppy? How am I getting, I want this puppy, but I don't know what to get, and this and that, da. So to break it down to the easiest,
First time dog owner.
What's the, fine, least common denominator?
First time dog owner. What I suggest to people is you do your homework. You find if you're getting a purebred dog, you research that breeder. First you research your breeds. You find the one whose personality and physical things seem to fit your lifestyle. Don't get a greyhound if you live in an apartment. You know, little things like that. Then start researching your breeders and go at your breeder. We've got a video on how to find a breeder.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of red flags. In fact, let me pop up a couple of those right now. Because so many people are buying pups from the internet these days, here's a couple of red flags for you if you're a first-time puppy owner. If you're finding this breeder on the internet and he's got more than 2 breeds that he's breeding, he's a puppy mill.
Mm.
There are reputable breeders who maybe love their Great Danes, maybe compete with them, but also decided, I know a lady in this case who then got an Italian Greyhound, which is like a little miniature Greyhound. It was so much fun, and she had the facilities, so she started breeding those with her Great Danes. Quality dogs. So red flag number 1, if they got a third breed that they're breeding, they're probably a puppy mill. I'd be careful. Next biggest red flag to me is they're on the internet and they say contact us through email.
Mm.
You know, I want to drive up and see their place. I want to inhale the aroma of their kennels. And if it brings tears to my eyes, I want to turn around and walk away. And I can't do that if they don't put their address in public. If you're in business, think about it. If you're in business to sell stuff to the public, you got local people. You may be on the internet, but you got a local group of people who will buy your product as well. Mm. Don't you want them to know how to find you?
Sounds like a broker to me.
Well, they can be. In a lot of cases, they are brokers.
These broken dogs.
And in other places,
middlemen.
And right, middlemen, and then you have the other deal where they're just hardcore puppy millers. They don't want you to go to their facility because you're going to be wiping tears out of your eyes after the first deep breath you take because of the filth that they're letting these dogs live in.
How about you drive up to the place and the guy walks out of the house and starts going to a barn or a garage to show you the dogs?
Well, there's red flag number 3. Mm. If you're going to deal with this breeder, he needs some sort of a physical setup that allows interaction of his dogs with his family at least. Mm. Because, and here's the next biggie. This is the number 1 do not do it rule that I could ever come up with for anybody. Never get a puppy that's over 12 weeks of age from a breeder. Never. Unless that dog is living in the house with that breeder. Because those first 12 weeks are critical socializing periods. And pups, especially if they're older than 12 weeks, and I've had people bring me dogs that they said they got from a breeder that was 14, 16 weeks old all the time, and the dog is always a spook.
Right.
You're missing a critical social period. So never get a dog 12 weeks or older from a breeder unless you know for a fact that dog has been raised in that home with that family and goes to town once in a while. So
I'm sitting here talking all about this, politics, genetics. I figured it out. So all you got to do is this. If I'm wrong, correct me.
Okay.
Buy a puppy, buy the book,
There you go.
and raise your dog.
There you go.
That's it.
You
It's
got
that
it,
simple.
folks.
It's all here.
You got it right
Another
there.
comment?
What? We got one more comment. What is it?
New dog owners can always go to different dog clubs and see different breeds at their different levels, from obedience to protection, all the way to owner relationships.
Where do they see this at?
At dog clubs.
Oh, clubs. Yeah, absolutely. Great
Yep.
idea. Thank you. Who is that comment from?
It looks like Jose Andrade.
Andrade? Jose Andrade.
Got us. Hey, Jose. Thank you, sir. Very good point. Very good
Yeah.
point. And that's one thing that dog shows are really good for. But go to your local clubs. They use clubs extensively in Europe to let people get familiar with dogs.
All right. So like I said, buy a puppy, visit us,
Yep.
buy the book, watch our videos on YouTube,
Yep.
like us,
You're home free. Subscribe us.
subscribe, you know.
Yep.
But, you know,
Tell your friends.
at the end of the day, you know, it's all about
It's all about the dogs.
the dogs, people.
And on that note, we will say adios.
Adios.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Good night, folks.
Good night, folks. But I think